All right, so let's make sure everybody gets into the Zoom. The code is up here in the top left. GS4MK. Looks like I'm looking down here at the bottom. I have 8 people in. I got people joining the Zoom still, so I'm going to go ahead and give them everybody a little bit more time for that. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 people in our Zoom and I have 8 people in my Nearpod. So let's make sure we get everyone in the Nearpod. And I hope everyone's doing okay today. We've got one more day and we're at Friday, and then one more week. And then everybody has these high expectations for 2021. I don't know about that. A little apprehensive, but. All right, so let's see what we have here. I'm going to close that up. Got 11 people in there, so a couple more people going to be getting in. So give you just a second here. Today's session is on, I can't figure out where to put you guys. Okay, there we go. Is on utilizing reports and kind of on the fly activities as formative assessment. I love this part of the Nearpod training. It's really fun because this is the whole reason that you would use Nearpod anyway, is to get that formative assessment in. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. So our learning objectives today is that you can utilize Nearpod reporting tools to analyze student learning. I'm going to give you some resources so you can troubleshoot and continue learning on your own, and then also learn how to use those on the fly activities for immediate feedback and to adjust your instruction. And then we have our TPEP alignment that we have had in all 3 sessions. Again, if you want to take notes on the student view, you have this note icon. And you can go in there and take notes, and as you know, it will save it onto those slides, and then you'll get this at the end of the presentation. Okay, now, before I get started, I want to make sure that I have my other tabs open that I didn't have before. I'm going to join as a student. Actually, Kim and I were talking about this before everybody was getting in, and about starting a Nearpod and you know, trying some of the activities and stuff. And one of the suggestions that I made that I do all the time, and I'm sure Carrie, you do this, and probably many of you do, is to log in on a separate device or in a different tab as a student. And so I'm looking at my teacher presentation, and I'm also logged in with the join.nearpod.com on either an iPad or another device or a second screen, whatever, or my phone, just to see what it looks like on that student side. You know, you can come up to this student view up here and take a look at it. The problem with that for me is that it takes a while to load each, you have to go by, you know, it just takes a while to load the pages. And so I'd rather just kind of see it as I'm going at the same time. So that's just something you guys might want to think about doing when you're working on your Nearpods. Okay, so using Nearpod data to drive our instruction. So this session today is about evaluating and adjusting your instruction for higher learning outcomes. So we're going to be talking about progress monitoring and why do we progress monitor? I have a quick quiz here for you I'd like you to take. And I'm going to go ahead down here. I'm going to make you guys, I'm going to hide student names. Again, that's one of those strategies that if you have reluctant learners or you just really want to get some honest responses from students, you can hide those names so that if you're projecting this or they see your teacher screen, they're not going to see everybody's responses. So go ahead and answer that. So you're going to check all that apply to this. Why does it matter? And you have some different choices here. So on the student view, it looks like this for you. And you'll see that the immersive reader is here because I enabled that. We talked about that last time. So if you were needing some assistance, you could use that. So that's kind of a nice thing to have added. Okay. So what happens with Nearpod sometimes is you need to refresh your screen. Now, when I refresh my screen, it always pushes me back to the first. So I got to kind of get rid of this first slide, but I want to see what the answers are. And so you want to tell your students that as well. If they're like in a collaborate board or something, why am I not seeing anything? Oh, well, that's weird. It hit all the data. Okay. Well, here we go. So these are the answers that everybody chose. It looks like everybody's choosing all of them. So let's see what we got here. You are correct. You guys are great educators. So progress monitoring, you know, the truth is that we use all of these. All of these statements are true. When we talk about progress monitoring, it absolutely informs our student academic performance. We use it to measure growth and student improvement. And we also use it to assess our efficacy of instruction. And if you're using formative assessment at different points throughout just your lesson for the day or for that hour, that class period, you can adjust your instruction if you can assess where the students are at that time. It also drives your future learning goals and improves academic achievement. So progress monitoring is super important, and you can do a lot of it in Nearpod. So this means we are going to be looking at data to drive our instruction. So when we think about data-driven instruction, we think about it in three parts. And that first part always is to just gather that information, to collect your data, you know, through a variety of formative assessments and summative assessments. And then once you get that data, that is when you take the time to analyze it, organize it, synthesize it, and look for patterns. Dive into reasons why there might be particular results and draw those conclusions. And then at the end, it's moving into action. It's like, okay, so how am I going to dig deeper and prepare to reteach some of these key ideas that my kids are missing? I am going to do this device only. So when I sent you guys out that survey yesterday, and thank you for participating if you had a chance to, I just kind of wanted to see some of the features of Nearpod that maybe you wanted to see again or learn how to do again. And so what I've done is I've embedded those results kind of throughout this presentation today. So I'm using it to inform my instruction, my data. So this, I want to remind you that there's two ways that you can launch your lesson. One is a live lesson, and this is when you're sharing for a whole group, you're engaging kids all at the same time, and you're getting that real-time feedback right there in front of you. Now, one of the things that, there was about 5 or 6 things that really came out in that little survey I sent out. And one was adding audio to a slide. So I added audio to this one. You can see here.
One of the benefits of a live lesson is that you can share your lessons for whole group instruction to engage all learners and collect real-time feedback and data.
Okay, so I just added that as that extra support. Now, I want to show you how that's done. I'm just going to come into, I think I have, you just go into your library, you pull up your lesson and you go into that edit mode. And it brings up all your slides. And so if I wanted to make sure I had audio for my learning objectives, I just select that slide and then I double click on it, and that's going to open up that editing pane for me. So now anything that is available for me to edit on this slide is here. So I can change the theme here if I want, but down here is where that audio is. So if I wanted to record audio, I click here and I click on my recorder, and then I go ahead and hit the microphone. Our learning objectives for today are to learn about the executive branch and the power of the president, and understand the roles the president and vice president play in the United States, and discover how the role of the president has evolved over time. So now that's embedded in there. And then when I save and exit this slide, you'll see it has a little dark line on this slide. It'll show you that there's audio in it. Maybe. Well, just trust me on that. It shows a little dark line. So that is that audio piece that somebody had mentioned, a couple of people mentioned they wanted to see demoed. Okay. Back to this. So you can also assign Nearpod lessons as a student-paced lesson, and this is for your asynchronous learners. And this is where you can really personalize some of that learning and add some of those extra supports in for students that might need them. It's great because the kids can access them whenever they can, and they can do it independently from the teacher. And so there's some advantages to that. You can still collect data and you can still monitor student progress. And we're going to take a look at that in a second. So one thing I want to point out to you is that when you start a self-paced lesson, you're going to see this little option come up. So your code comes up. And if you want to make sure that your students are responding to everything and that they can't skip slides, you'd want to toggle this on. So when you put that, turn that on and the kids go into this Nearpod, they can't skip anything. So I'm just going to show you really quick where that might be. So when I go in to do my student-paced lesson, so I just hover over my lesson, I go to student-paced, and it's right here. So before I send out that code, I want to require that they have to respond. Okay, so there's just a little tip there. Okay. All right, so I put this slide in because from the survey, these are the top 5 activities that you guys indicated that you wanted me to demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you first. So we're going to look at time to climb, Flipgrid, matching pairs, collaborate, and the audio recorder. I actually just did the audio recorder. And so what I'm going to do first is have you guys participate in one of these activities. And then I'm going to switch over to my other screen and show you how to set one up as the teacher. Okay. And then we're going to look at some of the data that we can get from this afterward. Okay. So here's my first formative assessment. And you guys are going to participate in this. This is a time to climb activity. This is something that we talked about earlier that you could actually use in place of like a Kahoot if you wanted to. So my time to climb, so I can, on the teacher side, I have these different settings. I can randomize the answers, set a theme, and I can also turn the sound off if I want or keep the sound on. So I'm going to go ahead and do our Happy Holidays one and hit continue. Okay, and then on your side here, it looks like this. You're going to choose your character and you're going to hit start. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy. Okay, so there's all our people. So fun. Okay. And then as soon as I hit start, you guys will start to race. And what I did was I put 5 super simple questions for you guys. Just 5 questions that you answer. And as you answer them correctly, you're racing the other players. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so here's my overall leaders. And I can scroll through and I can see, I wonder, what's going on with some of these kids that didn't get very high points. I can watch as things are coming in, and I'm going to show this to you a little bit closer when we go to the next part of the training today. Now, before we go on, I want to show you how to add a time to climb in your Nearpod. So I guess I should just leave this guy open right here. Let's go to edit. So just like with any other activities or content you want to add, you just come up to add a slide. And again, the content shows up first. So these are different ways you can provide content for your students. And then the activities are here. So we did a time to climb. So I'm going to click on this and show you how to do this. Okay, and you just enter your questions. Okay, and then what I do is I choose the correct answer right here. And then I can go and add my second question. Okay. Okay, and then you continue with that. and then you choose your correct answers. And then when you're done, you just hit save. Oh, let's just pick something. It's not correct, but I'm gonna hit save. So it's pretty easy. It's just like you do any other type of an online digital quiz type thing. Whenever you add a slide to your Nearpod, it puts it at the very bottom. So I would take this and find where I wanted this to go in there, and I'd stick it there and it will move it. So now I have a time to climb activity in there. That's going to give me some data. And again, we'll look at that, what that looks like in a little bit. Okay. Our next thing that was requested was the Collaborate board. And so this is my teacher review. And remember, it's going to ask you if you want to approve those comments before they get posted to that class board. And again, I would remind you that you probably want to start by teaching a little bit of digital citizenship and the proper use and proper way to post things in an online forum, and give them some really concrete examples and maybe have them compare, you know, a good post and a bad post. And it depends on what grade level you're at. And then start with, yes, I want to approve. And then as they start developing those skills, you could say no, and you can have them start posting. And then if you come across something that that might be a little, maybe not the best post, you can always pull that out and you can look at it as a group. You can also delete a post that's on there if it's just like something you got to get off the board right away. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit no on here. And I would like you guys to participate in this. What activities in Nearpod are you most excited to use? You just come down. Is it allowing you guys yet? Or does it keep saying this to you as well? Oh, there they go. Good. Yep. So you just come down to the bottom and you post. My student view is really lagging. So this is a great way to hear different student voices. If I hide the names, oh no, it doesn't do it on that board. I think the student names are going to come up here. I think if I hit, I don't know if I hit hide them. Oh, there they go. Yeah. Okay. So if I can hide the names on the postings as well. So that's super handy because then you can hear every student voice and there's no judgment. And then students can go, if you allow them to, they can go and they can heart things that they agree with. And that's kind of fun as well. So it's a great place to do some brainstorming and sharing of resources, because as you see down here, I can also add an image. If I click on the little image guy down here, I don't know if mine is going to work for me. But if you click the image, then you can upload from your computer. You can search for an image. You can add things there as well. So to create a Collaborate board, oops, this guy right here. Again, I'm going to add a slide, and I'm going to go to the activities, and I'm going to do my Collaborate board. Really straightforward. Okay. You can put a title, you can add a picture here for a reference, a description. You can pick from a couple different backgrounds, and then I just hit save. And now I have a Collaborate board for students to collaborate on, and I get that data as well. And again, it puts it at the very end, so you'd have to move it around to where you want it. Any questions on the time to climb or the Collaborate board? I guess I should have stopped and given you guys a chance to ask any questions.
Tracy, on the time to climb, if you do a self-paced, does it just show them going up the hill just themselves? I mean, because they're not racing.
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like in the self-paced. So what you would probably want to do is create one and then do a self-paced lesson and get in as a student and type that code in and see what that does. You might want to have a couple different students in there to see. I'm not sure. Carrie will probably figure that out for us really quick because I know she's.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have an answer. It's a great question.
When you add a picture, does it change the background? Can you change the background to be just a picture, or does it have to be one of the 5 that they give you?
I think it changes it to the picture. So if I just go here and put a picture in, it'll just be a picture. I can't demo for you because this is probably going to send everything. Go ahead and do it and see what happens. Because you're talking about for the postings, right? So if I wanted
No,
to
like when you created the collaborative board and you could do a picture, you said.
yes, it would. If you do a picture, let me see. When I do the collaborate board, I have backgrounds I can pick from here. The picture I'm talking about is when you're posting something in a response, you can post a picture up here instead of these Post-its. Does that clarify? Clear as mud. Okay. Alrighty. I am going to move on. Carrie, as soon as you get that answer for us, we can pause. All right. So now Nearpod also has a Flipgrid integration with this. So I'm going to have you guys participate in this Flipgrid first, and then I'm going to show you how you can do it. So what I did here was I actually got this from somebody else. I didn't feel like creating one from scratch, but it's tell about your favorite winter holiday traditions. Think about the food, events, music, and people, and share about those. And with a question for a classmate or a pal to respond to. You can record up to a 30-second video. So I limited this video to 30 seconds. And when we go into the Flipgrid side, I'll show you that. So on the student side, this is what it looks like for you guys. And what you're going to come down to do is you're just going to come here to record your response. So you click on here.
Hey, Tracy.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but it just says join with Google or join with Microsoft. And I tried to join and my screen isn't saying anything different on the student view.
Okay. Is that for everybody? Is that what is happening? You have a join with Google or join with Microsoft?
Yes.
Okay. So join with Google, see what happens. Maybe refresh, Catherine. And then let me know what happens.
Like it says login successful when I log in with my student account, but like nothing is happening when I refresh. It just keeps going back to the same page.
You're not seeing this page?
No.
Is there anybody else having that same trouble?
This is Cindy
I
McCall.
got it.
It's not
I
letting
didn't
me.
have any problem.
It's like it's froze.
It's frozen.
I
Yeah.
can't,
it
I
says-
have the same thing as Catherine.
Okay. Okay.
Is it because we don't have Flipgrid open?
You know, I guess it could be. I don't have Flipgrid open either. I did play with this in the student view earlier, so it's letting me in right now. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when it's all running perfectly. And then I'm going to go back after our session and see and send you a couple screenshots of what happened, because clearly I did something. I logged in or something. So I will clear that up. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Oh, there's Chad. How'd you get in, Chad?
It just let me in without any problems. I don't know. I just hit log in with
Google?
Google and it brought me right in.
Okay.
I already have a Flipgrid account though. So I wonder if that,
I'm wondering
might
that
be-
too. Does, Catherine, do you have a Flipgrid account?
Yeah, I made one last spring.
Okay.
I don't know. It's trying to load, but
Okay.
login successful, but then it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know why.
So maybe it's just an internet thing or a browser thing right now. We got 2 people up there.
I'm gonna check my pop-ups to see if that's why.
Okay. So students will sign in with their Google account. I didn't think they had to have one beforehand. But I have to check. Anyway, so what they do is they come down, they record their response right here. And the first thing that they're going to be asked to do if they haven't done it yet is to go ahead and allow it to use the camera. And then you can record your response. My favorite thing about Christmas Eve is going out to dinner and church with my family. Okay. I can add effects if I want to add any effects. I have other options here as well. Kids love this stuff because you've got some emojis in here. And you can put stickers. Oh, Santa's been banned from the emojis, I guess. Different effects that you can add. There's different filters you can put on it. So really kind of some fun stuff. And then you hit next. And this is the student view. So it has the student name. And then what it wants you to do, is so attractive. You can take a selfie and add the selfie. So it's here, or you can upload a photo, select one of the frames in here to be there, and then you just hit submit. And one of the fun things about Flipgrid too is if you allow it in the settings, students can respond back to each other as well. So we got a few more. So when I set this up, I enabled it so that you could like people's. I didn't mean to like my own. That's kind of dumb. Now I'm gonna have 2. My favorite thing, okay. So the students go down here and they can see the videos and you can see the videos. And then I also set it so that you could record a message back to them if you want to. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm glad you guys got in. I'm not sure what was happening there, but it's the same thing. You do have to have a Flipgrid account as a teacher in order to use this feature. So you just sign up for a free account using your East Valley Google email. You come over to your activities, and when you click on Flipgrid, you wait a really long time. There we go. Okay, so what it's asking me to do is I have to put the URL topic from my Flipgrid here, and then the join link for the students here. So I go out, I have to do it from my Flipgrid account. I'm a little glitchy here, so I hope you guys are able to hear me okay and stuff. It's not freezing too much. So you go to Flipgrid and then sign in. And I want to show you where these codes are, because there's 2 different codes that you put in for it to activate in your Nearpod. Okay, so let's say this is the one that I want to do. I come over to share. And I don't have time right now to show you how to create a Flipgrid. It's kind of a different class for that. But if you have one, or you get one from the Flipgrid shared group, you can play around with it. But basically what I do is I go to the share and then I click on copy, because this is the student link right here. So when I'm back in my Nearpod, this is the student join link. So I go here and I click on that, paste that there. The other one, the topic URL, is literally this. Oops, hold on. I actually have to open this. Sorry. Go to my share. So I took, that was my code. And then I come up here and I take this URL, the URL for this specific Flipgrid. And that's the one that goes right here. And then when I click on add at the bottom, it will make this into a Nearpod slide for me. And hopefully your kids can interact with it a little bit better than you guys were able to. And if you are new to Flipgrid, there's a whole bunch of, they have a YouTube channel and they have a lot of videos to get you started and stuff. And it's a fun tool to have. It's great because it gives kids a different way to share what they know. You know, a lot of kids like to do video and audio and add silly things and all that type of stuff. So it's a great place. We did one where students were, they had read To Kill a Mockingbird, and they were each assigned a chapter to review and put notes up for the whole class to share. So there was one group that did chapter 1, one group did chapter 2 and 3, and they recorded a video that talked about it, so they could all kind of share that. So it's kind of like a collaborate board, kind of neat. So here's your Flipgrid right here. All right, it's just a different way for you to get data on your kids and inform your instruction. Okay, so let's move on.
So real quick, Tracy, I do have the answer for time to climb.
Oh, good.
So I did put a link in the chat if you're able to see it. It's a 1-minute video of the time to climb and student paced lessons. But they said that when they're doing the student pace, they're competing against others that may be logged in at the same time, or they will see those that have previously done the time to climb competing against them. If they're the first one to get on there, then they're only going to see themselves. So that's
Gotcha.
the answer.
Thank you, Carrie.
You bet.
Yeah. So probably more fun when you're doing it with a whole group. And you know, some of these lend themselves better. Like the Flipgrid, I would not do Flipgrid in a live session because it's, you know, you're seeing what's happening. And you're not really going to be watching those videos while you're in a live session. So that's a really great one for a synchronous time. This next one that was requested was the matching. And so here I'm going to, this is the matching pairs, not the memory test. This is the matching pairs. So I'm going to go ahead and start this activity and let you guys do this, and then I'll show you how it works. And I exposed your names. So I just wanted to see who was there, who was doing what. So you'll see as the teacher, when the students are doing this, I'm seeing the data come right in, and I'm seeing how many matches and how many tries it took for them to match. So it's not just getting all the matches right, it's how many tries did it take. So that's going to give me insight into maybe I need to follow up or talk again about this specific term that they seem to be struggling with. Okay, and there was a timer on that, and then I can show the pairs. Do you guys see that? You don't, do you? Okay. All right, so that's the matching pairs, and it's a pretty easy. Again, I just come up to add a slide, and I go to the activities and matching pairs, and it's really pretty self-explanatory. You can put a picture, and you could put two pictures together. You could put a picture and a definition, or a word and a definition. You have some options here. So I'd put my instructions up here, and then I'd just go to add a pair. So I can enter text. Obviously I'm hungry. And then I can come over here and add an image that goes with that. So I could go to add an image, and I can, there we go. Just search here on Google if I want. Nope. Go like that, hit save. And I have my first pair. And then I add another pair. So I can keep doing this until I'm done. Let me see. And it looks like this on the teacher end. And then I like adding a timer to this one because, you know, I think I gave you guys 60 seconds or something like that, but it's kind of a nice feature to have on this because it gets them thinking quickly. So again, I could put a word here and a definition here. I could put a picture and a picture, whatever it is to suit your needs. So that's how you add the matching pairs. Okay. All right. So those were the things that were the most common that people wanted me to demo as far as activities from last week. And so just to kind of show you what it's like as a participant and then how to create that activity as a teacher. But now I want to go back into this idea of our progress monitoring. Because when you're in Nearpod, you can evaluate and adjust your instruction right on the fly, and after looking at results, just like you do in live classrooms. There's 3 ways that you can progress monitor. The first one is viewing progress in a live session that I was just sort of showing you. You could see on my teacher side, I have that live feedback right there. And you can also view it in the student pace sessions. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Another way that you can progress monitor is by adding an activity on the fly. So if I did that last activity and I was like, geez, you know, they're not understanding the concept of cookies, then I could go in and add an activity right there on the fly to support that learning for them. And then there's also post-session reports. So you can view progress live and from self-paced. You can add activities and adjust your teaching there, and then you can view the post-session reports as well. Okay, so the progress in a live lesson. So we looked at some of that when you guys were doing the activities. But this actually shows you what the teacher view looks like and the student view looks like in a live session for all activities. So for instance, well, we know that there's a teacher view and the student view. But here's the time to climb. So, you know, you can assess your student understanding in this little game type thing. Again, it shows you who the leaderboard is. And this is how you set it up, which we did. And then it shows you what the student view is. So you guys just did that one. The open-ended questions. So this is a way for kids to, you know, respond either through their writing, or they can do an audio response. And so again, with that differentiation and really trying to give every kid a voice and getting them to participate. And so the teacher view shows you this. When we do an open-ended question, it'll ask a question. We did this in some of the earlier ones. And you see the students and you see the answers that they're giving you. You can also see how much participation do I have right now? I only have 33%. So I need to, you know, egg my kids on, hey, you know, I need you to answer this. If you don't feel like typing an answer, go ahead and record an audio response for me. The other thing that you can do is add those media references, which we looked at before as well. And also that immersive reader is a great support for our kids. So this is how you get this feedback in an open-ended question during a live session. So if you see some common things happening where kids are all answering it one way and it's completely off target, then you're going to want to stop and you're going to want to reteach it, or you can add an activity to kind of engage them in a different way. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Wrong forward button. Oops. Sometimes I forget these are slides down here. The matching pairs, we saw that. So again, you can see how many matches they make and how many tries that it takes for them. And we just did that, so not going to spend much time on that. But again, adding timers is a really good thing to do. I almost just went to the wrong place again. You can build a quiz into this. And again, it's going to give you that individual student scores. You're going to see correct answers pop up over on this side in green, and the ones that are wrong will be in red. And then the student view, you know, again, you have the immersive reader option on this one, which is really nice. You can put media in there for them, ask them a question, and they choose their answers. So you're sitting there in real time watching them answer this. And then if you want to, you can, when you push the share, it's going to share that student's score out to them on their screen independently. They're not going to see anybody else's. It's just going to push it right to them. So those students get that immediate feedback as well. All right. Oh, geez, see, dang it. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm a rookie at this. Okay. And then the flip grid. Okay. So we talked about flip grid, and you have to go in and kind of train yourself on Flipgrid a little bit to use that, but it is an embedded tool that you can use. The Draw It, we talked about this last time as well. It's kind of like an interactive whiteboard where you can have kids draw, add pictures. You can put a background on it and have kids circle things or draw lines to match things. And then on the teacher view, you're actually seeing these little tiles here, and you can see, you know, Julie hasn't done anything yet, so I might want to just check in with her because everyone else is popping up their stuff right now. And so you see that in real time. And then if you double click on one, you'll see it full screen so you can look at it a little bit more closely. I believe on the Draw It, not 100% sure, but you also have the option to share out. So I can choose one of these and share it, and it goes out to everybody's screen. Not like the quiz where it's just that student. But I can't remember if you can actually do it on the Draw It or not, but
Yes,
you can, yeah.
you can share the drawings.
That's what I thought, but I didn't see that little red button over here, so it was kind of throwing me off.
I've done it with a first grade class, and they wanted every single drawing
Yeah.
shared. So
Right, they want to see it because it pushes it out to that screen, and you can really look at that kid's work, and they get to share that way. So yeah. And then on the student side, you know, again, there's immersive reader on the Draw It's, which are great. And you can get really creative with these if you upload those PDFs like we talked about, and you can turn it into a draw it.
How did you change the background on those ones?
On these,
Yeah.
let me go here. Oh, I don't want another pair. Okay. So let's take a look at this really quick. Let me go to my slide. And activity, and I draw it. So on my teacher side, see right here, I can upload an image, a PDF, whatever I want to put in the background, put my directions, I can put a timer on it, and then it puts that as the background, and then the kids can draw on top of it. Let's see. So it'll set my background. And then if I'm on the student side, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to preview this so you can see what it looks like in my student preview. I am so sorry. My stuff is so slow in loading tonight. But maybe what I want is I want the students to circle their favorite parts of the cookie, which are these giant chocolate morsels. And they can draw on that, and that's going to go right back to the teacher so they have that. And even if you do an activity like this in a student paste, you get these tiles as well, so you get that feedback. All right, we have the collaborate board, which we've done, so you guys know how to do that one. A poll, I did a poll already. Pretty easy to do, and you can see the results come in right away. You were able to see my teacher screen on that. Fill in the blanks is another one where you actually, what you do is you type out the sentence and then you select, let's do it really quick. Let me get out of the student view here. And so one of the things I want to show you guys that I just did, if I want to look at one slide and see what it looks like on that student end, when I'm in this edit mode, if I get it so I have that orange box around it and I come down to the bottom where it says preview, it's going to show me what it looks like in student view. So as you're building, it's kind of a nice thing to have. So this one I haven't used a lot, but it's pretty cool. So I can type in okay, and I hit next. And then if I click on these words here, it's going to pull those out. And so when the students get it, they have to pick the words that drop into. Did you guys lose me?
Yeah, we lost you for a while.
I'm back though?
Yep, you're back for me.
Did you guys get to see the demo at all?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm going to try it again then really quick. Activities, fill in the blank. Okay, you guys are with me still? Okay, awesome. I hit next. And then what I might want to do is pull out. So some of these are maybe my vocabulary words or words that we're talking about for, you know, whatever we're working on. I hit done here. What it does is when I come in here as the student, it takes those words out of the sentence and I have to drop those words into the correct place on the student side. So let's see if this pops up. So my words are down here at the bottom. I kind of gave it away by having a period with that one, but I can come up and slide them in and do this. And then I'd send it back to my teacher. Got 1 out of 3 correct. Okay. So that's another activity that you can use. And that is it for those guys. So that is those activities that you put in your, most of those were for live because you're seeing that data come up right away. So progress monitoring on the fly as well. Let me see something here. Okay. And we're going to look at the student paced lessons in just a second. So on the fly, as you're going through your live session, again, there might be something that you want to cover again for your students because there's something that they're just not quite getting. And so up at the top, you can see on my screen, up at the top up here, there's this add activity. That's where these come from. So the reason that you would want to do these is because you might want to ask a question that might get kids thinking in the right direction. You might want to provide some extra practice for them on the fly, digging deeper. Maybe there's a website you want to push out to them, or just give them a live whiteboard. Maybe you want them to explain their thinking on the whiteboard, and then you can get a little bit more insight onto something there. So that's where you can go and add an activity. I'm going to show you how to do this as well, I think. Okay. So these are the different choices that you have. You can add web content. You can add an open-ended question, a draw it slide, a regular slide, or true and false. So if I want to send a web page out to them right away, I would just paste it in here. If I want to ask them a quick question, I click on this option, I type it, and I click share to the students. So it's pretty straightforward, the draw it, and what you do is you share it out to student devices. So I'm going to show you what this looks like right now. I'm going to add an activity in the middle of my teaching right now. And I am going to just ask a quick true or false. And the correct answer is true. I'm going to share this out to you guys so you can see what happens on your screen. If it ever gets to you. Did you guys get it? Awesome. And so here on my teacher end, I can see who is getting it right now and who's not getting it right now. Okay. And I think you're all getting it because you saw me pick the right answer. So that is how you can add activities on the fly. So again, it can be anywhere in your presentation and I can just send something out to students right away. And then that data is also saved in your no. I didn't want to do that. It's saved in your data so you can look at it later. I really don't want to be in the student view. The next thing I want to show you guys is the student paced lessons. and how you can monitor progress in those. Oh, that's what you have to do at the end. This close activity at the bottom, close the activity. And that's how you get out of the activity. Forgot that step. Okay. So progress monitoring on student-paced lessons. Show you what this looks like here. So what you do is you go to the lesson in your library and you click on the student-paced and then view your progress. Let me show you this. Oh, shoot. Okay. So if I come to my library, again, you always click this Nearpod icon to get to your library. Now, if I had, I don't think I have a self-paced in here. So if I had sent this out as a student paced, I can come directly into my library and click on that student paced button and click on view progress. And that will bring up the students that are in that and have participated in that lesson. Unfortunately, I don't have any in there right now, so I'm going to show you this. So you come over, you click on the student paced, choose the lesson you're looking for. So once you start a session, they all start falling right in here. You get this code and you have different sessions and different times that they've started. So you find the one that you assign to your students, and then you click on that view progress like I just did there. I think there's another slide here. And then what happens here is you're going to get this slide that comes up, and it's going to have a student list. And this is going to show you who is already signed into that lesson. And then if you keep checking back, hopefully you're going to see more names start to populate. But remember, part of us doing self-paced lessons or student-paced lessons is so they can access them when it's convenient to them. So you just want to keep checking back to make sure that they're engaging with it. At the very bottom, there's a slides. You can click, there's a little arrow that you can click on, kind of like right here on mine right now, there's this little caret. If I click on this, I can toggle through the different slides of my presentation. You can do the same thing in that student-paced lesson if you just want to go right to the draw it one and see what they did there. So you can navigate that way as well. And then you get these same kind of reports. Now it's not happening. This is not populating as I'm looking at it because maybe kids aren't in it, but I can go back and look at these same activities and it's going to show me the reports. So if I click on that slide, for the poll or the quiz, this is what's going to show up for me. If it's a draw it activity, I click on it from here. I click a draw it activity. It's going to bring this up for me and I can see these individual slides. Okay, and so then this just shows you that you can also view the self-paced in the reports tab, which we're going to look at. But I just want to show you, so when we go into reports, you see these different sessions because it depends on, when you started them and who's assigned to those. Like this one over here has one student. Maybe there was only one student that you gave that code to because you were really differentiating for that student. But when you see this little house next to it, that tells you that it is a student-paced lesson. And we're going to go in and take a look at this. in just a moment. So these are the post-session reports. And so after this session, once I close this, I'll have data from all the responses that you guys provided today. I can go in and look at this and analyze that data, and then adjust my planning from there on out and really assess that efficacy of my instruction. I have a quick video to show you on how this is done. I thought it'd be nicer to have somebody else explain it to you than me. So it's a quick video, but it shows you how to get to those reports.
Today, we're going to learn how to assess and download your post-session reports. To start, select on the Reports tab underneath your My Library button. Once your reports have populated, select the specific report that you would like to see. Once opened, you will see a quick summary of your students' general participation. You can see your students' names, their participation percentage via feature that you inserted into your Nearpod lesson. You can also see total participation. You'll be able to select on specific features that you've inserted into your Nearpod lesson and see individual students' names with their responses. When you're ready to download this specific report, you can select Download. You have the ability to download any report in PDF or CSV file, along with Session View, meaning you will collect and download all of your student submissions, or Student View, meaning you will collect and download one individual student's submissions. You can also share this report with a co-teacher, an administrator, or a parent. If you have any further questions, please visit nearpod.com/resources or email us at support@nearpod.com.
So in that first screen, when she pulled down like the open-ended response, and then there was a bunch, let me just get to that really quick.
Today, we're going to
I
learn
wanna
how to
show you this one screen.
select on the Reports tab underneath.
Let's see. So what's really nice about this is that you can go to each one of these different items to view. And when you get to, let's see, there was like the open-ended, and then there was all these lines, like green lines or whatever. Each one of those is a separate question.
Their participation percentage via feature that you inserted into your Nearpod lesson. You can also see total participation. You'll be able to select on specific features that you've inserted.
So all of these blue boxes are quizzes that were in that Nearpod. So if I click on this one, it's going to give me the results of that quiz. This one, so that's how you can find out quizzes, or just even if you ask one quick question, but they all come up as separate. So I wanted to show you that part. Okay, so we've been through a lot of stuff here, a lot of different features and ways to access that data. So I want you to take a few minutes and just kind of think about this and then answer this question. And if you want to practice by also putting in some type of an image, you're welcome to do that. But it's about progress monitoring, and why does it matter? Why do we do it? And how do you think that analyzing real-time and post-session data informs instruction. So go ahead and take about 5 minutes to really think about this and post it. And then we're going to look at some of those responses. We got our picture. Yeah, so you guys, you're all spot on. Just really kind of worded a little bit differently, but it's really about that, you know, catching some of those misconceptions. I think especially in our environment that we're in now, whether you're a hybrid teacher and you have kids in front of you half the time and they're learning at home the other half, or if you're a fully distance learning teacher, you know, it's so important in this environment to provide those stopping points for students where they can reflect and do their own checks. I think somebody else, I think Catherine said, checking their own progress. So it's beneficial to us as teachers because we can see right then and there, oh my gosh, before I go on, I better clear this up, but also train students to be able to kind of stop and reflect and check their own learning as well. Is there anybody that would like to talk about this, vocalize this? You can unmute your mic and just kind of share what you think about this progress monitoring and how you might use this Nearpod to kind of help your students. Any thoughts on that? I'd love to hear your voices and what you're thinking about this. Okay, or not, is fine as well. You guys all put your thoughts on the board, so that's fine. I know what you're thinking, so that's okay. Awesome. So I want to end, we've been together for many, many hours, 3 90-minute sessions, and we've gone over a lot of stuff. And we have recorded these sessions and they are available in the Teaching and Learning Toolkit. that's on. I'm just going to show you guys where that is really quick in case you're not familiar. So on our district website, if you go under the staff tab, the first link right here is the Teaching and Learning Toolkit. And I'm constantly updating this when we get finished with trainings and stuff. I try to get things up within 24 hours usually, but here's your digital learning resources. And if you click on this here, and you go down, there's all different kinds of tutorials, but down towards the bottom, they're kind of broken up into Core 4, communication tools, our Google apps, but down under our supplemental learning tools, we've got these down here right now, adding things all the time. But when you go into the Nearpod, our first 2 sessions are here, the 2 recordings, and then I'll add the 3rd one tonight. So if you ever want to go back and just go, gosh, I know, like, you know, when we were talking about this, she demonstrated this or whatever, you can go back and kind of fast forward. There's also some additional resources that I'm adding here. That immersive reader was really important, so I did that. So, Nearpod has a ton of resources. And if you are on your, I just want to go. When you go to your library and you're on your home page, over on the left-hand side, maybe, oh, over here on the left-hand side. Well, first of all, let me show you, this is where that reports is. That's where you can find your reports for all of your Nearpods. So that is going to bring up a big list right there. So all of your Nearpods that you've assigned codes out and stuff are here, and you can click on those and get your data. But down here at the bottom is this resources, and this will take you to the Nearpod resources, and they have all kinds of things in here. So once you kind of get your footing and you feel like you're ready to learn some more advanced features and kind of go beyond what we did, they actually have live Nearpods. They have pre-recorded Nearpods. So one thing is we don't have a license for Flowcabulary, so that's why we kind of skipped over that. But some of these you'll see, you know, using Nearpod with Google, that might be something that you want to see. These are the on-demand webinars down here, which are great. I go to those all the time, just because you can't always join a live one. And then there's just a whole bunch of different quick little videos here to help you out. Really great resource. And it's available right there on that front page, right down here in your teacher resources. And then of course you can always use me as a resource, but once you guys start using this, you're going to be the pros, and I'll be coming to you asking you how to do things and what's working and what isn't. But that's it. And Carrie is available as well. Anything that you guys want to just kind of talk about we're at the very end of this. I think it's 5:22. Ending on time. Questions or comments that you guys have to wrap us up?
Tracy, I was just going to add, just from the experience, that like, because I've made a lot of Nearpods, and then that people can share them with other people. Like I share them with my teaching partner, and then isn't it though they need to make a copy just like something in Google Drive before they start changing it? Otherwise it changes.
Well, so Casey, that's excellent. I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to show you this really quick. You can share it with somebody, and then it will prompt them to make a copy of it.
Okay,
So
I thought there was something about, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it'll ask them if they want to duplicate it or whatever it is. So if I have a lesson, right here, and I want to share it, I just come up to these dots and I go share with teachers. And this is going to say, do I want to give them this is where it gets a little sketchy, because if I just want them to be able to look at it and not even be able to edit it or change it or anything, this is kind of like the student view. What I always do is send that editable link, because then when I copy this and I email it, let them know that I'm sharing this with them, it's going to ask them to duplicate it before they play with it. And even if they don't, it's not going to change your copy. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a really good thing. Thanks, Casey.
So while you were there, Tracy, when you go to start a lesson, there was a question about adding it to Google Classroom. So if you just want to give a visual, I gave kind of that it's there, but if you can just show that when you start a new session, so just go to either a live session or a student pace, both of them have the opportunity to share out in Google Classroom.
That is a good thing to know how to do. I don't know. Yeah. So right here, I'll click on Google Classroom. And this is going to bring up my Google Classroom login because I'm logged in, right? And I come here to choose a class, and I want to share it to this class, my English class. And then when I go to choose an action, it's going to ask me if I just want it to be material, like where students are looking at it and engage, they can engage with it still, or if I want it to be an assignment so that they know they have to get this done, I can create it as an assignment. And then once I click on go, it brings me into the Google Classroom where I create an assignment. So this could be, the Nearpod 101, watch this, do this, all that stuff. And then what's really nice is that even though I just chose it for that English class, once I'm in Google Classroom, I can come here and I can choose as many of my classes as I want. So even though on that front page, I have to just choose one, I can also add it to these other classes if I'd like to. Or if I am just sticking with that class, I'm just doing it with this one class, I also have the option to just send it to a couple students. I only have one student in this class, but if I had a list of students, this might be something I just want, I've got 4 kids that I know are working asynchronously and they need some extra support. And I have a Nearpod where I've added a lot of scaffolding in there. I might just send it to those kids. Add my due date to it, put it under one of the topics, and then assign it. Great question. Anything else, you guys? Are you just totally saturated and ready for break? I know it's so much stuff. It is, but I think recording it is helpful because you can always go back and just look for different pieces that maybe you missed. And yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here with us through all these sessions. And I hope that you love Nearpod as much as I do. It's a great tool. And if you have any questions, please email me. All right, guys, thanks. Have a good night and happy holidays.